welcome to the Modern Block, guys. Thank you for joining us. So we've decided to just get in the picture from the actual players, actually talk to the people and see what the people behind the Blue Bulls are doing for next year's 2020 season. So I've got the people right here. Please introduce yourself, guys.
I'm Bandise Maku, key accounts for the Blue Bulls.
Shanil, Mangaroo, marketing and media for the Blue Bulls.
Awesome, guys. I really am glad to have you here. And what a setting to have this in. And I think this is just so important for us as Blue Bulls fans to see how the cake is made, how we get this actually here, and what's happening now for next year, how early preparations actually happen. So I was going to start off, obviously, what is the spirit of the club after such a World Cup win that I think many South Africans weren't actually expecting, and now and how many Bulls players actually were key to that? How's the spirit here?
You know, I think the first thing is it's not just about our club and here, it's about the country, man.
Yeah.
It's like, I remember after that final driving around, and it was the happiest place in the world. And I think it's going to be the happiest place in the world for the next 4 years. So that victory was not about rugby, man. It was a bigger victory. It was brilliant. It was beautiful. I mean, when I got here the week after to Loftus, it was just a lack of vibe. It was different. Everyone was upbeat. Rugby had an energy around it. So just a beautiful time for the country.
Exactly. I feel like the whole connotation of rugby is tenfold. I mean, you as a player, obviously, in the game, I think that you're probably seeing more players of color now also maybe come to the field, and even the players like CFDC coming up and just inspiring a nation. How does that make you feel? Like, what does that mean for you professional players?
I think obviously any South African is very proud to be associated with the Springboks. I think we've seen how Rassie has been able to incorporate the team. I mean, he's actually a brilliant planner, and he was able to plan and put a team together that can come back to South Africa with the World Cup. So I think obviously as an Eastern Cape boy, it's always good to see good to see the players do well. Lukhanyo, Mapimpi, all those boys. I think it's inspirational. So, and that's what makes South Africa proud, and that's what makes us South African, I guess.
Oh no, for sure, exactly that. I mean, it's the rainbow team coming together to do it, so that's just exciting. Cool. So, Mr. Maku, I was asked also, obviously, hooker yourself, some quality hookers in the Springboks. Who do you think should be the starting hooker if you consider that both Malcolm Moss and Bongi Mrambe are both talented players, and I think Bongi's actually taken the position. Who do you feel is the top position, or do you think there's somebody we're missing even from that?
I think that position they'll continue to push each other. I think this year in the World Cup, I think Bongi did very well. I think he was very impressive. But I think Moxie will come back. Obviously, I think he's missing this year's Super Rugby. He'll come back a stronger player, and you can't forget a guy like Scala. So Scala is also in the mix. So we've got 3 quality hookers, and those 3 hookers will push through for the next couple of years for the Springboks.
No, it's very exciting. It's very exciting. I mean, to have that kind of depth in such a key position is always essential.
That's interesting. You chat a lot about Marks and Bongi and absolute legends in their own right.
Yeah.
How good has Skulk been as well?
No.
I mean,
Skulk, I think, was probably the face of South Africa in a lot of ways.
Absolutely.
He was. Those highlight videos of him just like bowing down, and it just showcases the kind of player he is. And I think he also lifted up Loftus this last year.
100%.
And he was a joy to watch. That red scrum cap was everywhere, and I mean, I think he put a stamp on. There's no player I think has come back from retirement and retired that powerfully. He's like made his name. I mean, it's been beautiful.
Saddest thing for us is, and we got quite close to him personally as well. And I kept saying, how do you keep a guy like him in the rugby system somewhere? You know, whatever it is, a mentor, a coach, a commentator, whatever it is, it's sad that it's sad if he's gone out of the system.
Yeah, you have to keep him, and even just as an ambassador of the game, he's just a quality person, and I think he inspires people every day. And I think part of the reason the success was that I think he built an environment around him, and that was very clever from Rassie also to bring that in and show that he saw that the Bulls were utilizing that also very well.
Just back to the hooker conversation. You know, we chatted, and you brought Skara's name in. So Skara is a special player. I'll tell you, a lot of fans don't realize how many of the youngsters are stepping up. You know, we've got a couple of kids here. If you look at someone like Johan Krobler, I'll tell you, if that guy has a good season or two, his name's going to get thrown in the hat, and for the box in the next couple of years. And all the teams have a few of those lying around. So it's going to be an interesting 2 years coming up.
For sure. I think it's beautiful to see that kind of position build up, especially considering the focus the Springboks and I feel many South African teams still have to their forward pack. It's an essential key position. And I mean, considering how quality lineouts the Springboks did have, and how important that was to the victory in the final, that I mean, it's nice to see that we can continue that. It's not just a case of it's one. There's many, many more to come.
Yeah,
I think as well, just on how Rassie put the team all together. I think a guy like Scout is obviously influential in the change room and bringing calmness. I think a guy like Francois Lowe, Franz Steyn, I think those guys. I mean, Rassie probably had a conversation in terms of you guys might not be the starting guys, but I need you guys to mold this team to bring calmness in big moments. And you could just see the calmness in the Springbok team the whole tournament. There was never a time where you felt like things are going to go out pear-shaped. But I mean, that's just proper planning, and as well as Sia and Dwayne. All those guys, each guy had a role to play. There was never confusion who's starting, who's not starting. And I think he's a master of a plan, and the plan came together for him.
No, for sure. I mean, I think that was, it's a case of, everybody understood their role and they stuck to it, and he was the orchestrator of note. So obviously now, coming back to the Blue Bulls here, after this World Cup, we have to, so the Bulls do say bye to a lot of stunning world-class players. But I, as we said before this, it's not sad, but like, how does the camp feel about it? What are we doing to that kind of thing? What's happening?
I think first and foremost, it's and just take rugby out of the equation. Guys around here are losing friends.
Yes.
It's a brother that's moving on. So I think there's that little bit of emotion, but no one's sad about it. It's a career, and for us we see it as a guy's got another opportunity. He's traveling overseas. It's a bigger playing field. It's bigger salaries. It's a whole lot of new things for him. So around here we're quite excited when a guy leaves. And I said to Bandy earlier, it's not like there's bad blood and the guy's gone and we got to hate him. He doesn't become our enemy. Trust me, I mean, I still keep in touch with guys that left here 5-6 years ago. And when they come back to the country, this is one of the stops they make. They still come here, they meet the boys. So that personal bond and relationship's still there. Now it's a case of how you fill that void.
Yeah.
And again, I'm always super excited about youngsters. People talk about the World Cup cycle. Every 4 years, we build something up, and then after the World Cup, there's an exodus. That happens. We know it's coming. We expect it. I mean, if we didn't expect it, we need to find other jobs.
Exactly.
And you plan for that. And trust me, for every guy that's leaving, as much as you don't want to see a Jesse and a Polly and a Eric here leaving, you've got to have a plan in place. You've got to have 2 or 3 youngsters that can step up. And for them, it's exciting. They've been waiting.
Exactly. I mean, it's a step in their career, and I mean, it's exciting. And considering that there was such talent from overseas that did come and join the Springboks, they still have an opportunity to give back to SA Rugby, and I think that's exciting and that's really beautiful. Also, I feel the Blue Bulls do have to be happy that we had those stars to be able to be one of the best players in the world, and that they also they have instilled already in the juniors that are coming through in the ranks. They've instilled something in them that we cannot buy. It's something that you cannot buy, and that's nice to see. As a fan, I think that they will be there. They might not be those same players, but their antics, their passion will come through in the juniors.
Definitely.
And so obviously now, one of the main ones, I was looking at Instagram this week, and I saw Andre Pollard post his farewell message, and I have to admit, a little bit of a tear to my eye. I'm not going to lie. That guy is. I watched him from Varsity Cup days, and it was one of the greatest passions of mine as a Bulls fan to see him come play at Loftus. So it was sad to see him go. I understand, as you said, it's part of his career and it's his growth. But obviously now, looking at the fly-off depth for next year, we've got Manu Lebok, who's doing very well. And I mean, he has some stunning games, but I feel like he has a different style. How are we building our fly-off depth as such a key position going forward?
I think obviously Manu's got certain strengths. He's probably a very more dynamic player with ball in hand. But then you've still got a guy like Mone Steyn coming in to join us. I think Mone will probably bring a little more stability in terms of how we want to play. So there's guys like David Klute, who's also part of us. So, I mean, that's a transition you have to go through. I'm sure Coach Potes and Chris and backline coach will have a different plan in terms of how we want to attack and how we want to defend, and as well as how we want to execute our game plan. I think Manu, obviously, with ball in hand is brilliant.
Yes.
Yeah, very front foot, exciting, and you'll have good players around him. Burger Undar, Johnny Kotze, all those guys will still be around to support him in that role.
No, for sure.
I think it's also a nice time for a kid like Manu because now he gets to grow up.
Yeah.
He's a brilliant. He's such an exciting. Sorry, Bandy will look at me funny now because I am Mani biased. Mani's my boy. I promise you. I've been screaming Mani's name for the last 2 years. Yes, that kid is special.
Yes.
And I think now he's gonna have his chance to shine. He's got the best mentor in the world coming to help him out here. And how coach chooses to manage those positions and shuffle them around, either way, Mani's a smart kid.
Yeah.
And whether he starts or is on the bench, whatever the case is, trust me, he's hungry. He will take it.
You can
in
see
its
that
stride,
hunger even in the games in Super Rugby last year. The chances he did get was really, really exciting. And he is, as you said, open play. And I mean, that leads to the next question is, Mani does have a slightly different style to Pollard when it comes to the play. Because I'm expecting Mani to be one of the pretty much the starting five next year with Steyn playing a mentorship role and maybe coming in when needed. Obviously, that could happen, that could change. But with that in place, do you feel that the way that the backline is formed currently, the way that we play with that will change with the fact that it's less of a hard running and more of a trying to tactically play around players and ball in hand moves, considering that Pollard is a much stronger runner himself versus a Mani being a lot more of a stepping running. He plays Roscoe Speckman style. Right? What do you feel about that?
I think for me, it's funny because the two teams that played in the final were both, in terms of the Springboks and England, both teams were very conservative in their own half.
Yes.
Didn't make many errors in their own half, and they looked to attack, let's say, from the halfway line. So I can't see us as a Bulls changing, going away from that. I mean, we've always been a conservative in our own half, and as well as you can't take away players like Ivan van Zyl, who also kicks well, box kicks. So there'll be a lot of assistance in that. I think we won't change much of our plan. We'll look probably to attack more with ball and get the ball to the edges, as we did obviously with when Coach Mitch was here, and as well as Coach Potes has worked on a different strategy in how we will look to play.
Awesome. And I mean, that's very interesting to get. Obviously, with the tactics of Potima, you're saying that he wanted to play more ball in hand, but this is now it's a very interesting time in rugby. For the last 4 or 5 years, maybe even 10 years, everybody's been shouting, "Move the ball more, move the ball." Super Rugby's moving to a lot to move the ball, play the ball in hand, all of that. Very, very New Zealand or Fijian style rugby. Whereas South Africa's proven this last World Cup that you just got to do it right. So old South African style works. Yeah. It's just got to have the right players in our position. And the Bulls are one of the pioneers locally of that. I mean, the Super Rugby was won 3 times like that.
Yeah.
Do you feel that we are going to go back to that now and be like, okay, let's just do it properly? Because we just had small misses in our pack maybe, and also obviously the one quality thing the Springboks could use it, like what made it possible was the use of the bench. Do you feel that that's going to become a big part of next year's Super Rugby for all teams, how they utilize those bench? They're no longer bench players, but finishers.
So it's interesting you mentioned that. We stopped calling them substitute and bench players about 3 years ago.
Finishers.
I mean, if you come in a game there on the screen, there's no longer substitute.
Yeah.
It's finisher. We're big on that. I mean, even I think Coach Nollis started that. When he said, "Those are your winners. Those are your guys that take you across the line." So I think the whole rugby world, the coaches have adjusted to that. They've accepted that. It's the fans that haven't.
Yeah.
It
is interesting. I mean, there's also Irish rugby hasn't either. I mean, some fans over there are saying that there's too many bench players now, and I think the fact of the matter is rugby is a tough sport. You have to accept that. You cannot physically expect people to play those full 80s, and managing your players is just as important as a coach as managing the selection in the beginning of the game. So,
I think that's where I think South African coaches have made a big step up. Is being able to manage your squads. I think in the past, teams from Australia and New Zealand were always good in rotating their players. I think the past couple of years we've actually got better, and that's what you need. Almost like a 35 squad to win a competition or to be competitive at Super Rugby level. So we've certainly closed the gap between your starting player and your guy, which we call the finisher these days. Yeah.
No, I agree with you, and you can, as a South African fan, you can definitely see that. So obviously, now coming into next year, we've got exciting signings coming up. There are some signings, some new players joining the Super Rugby ranks. Who do you feel? Let's look at one question. So, who do you feel is a new player joining the Bulls, and who do you feel is the most exciting player for next year that's going to, out of the whole squad, who's going to actually surprise the fans?
You know,
That's a good one.
we must be very careful in saying that because if I mention a name here now and I walk around the corner, then I'm in trouble.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So with regards to the new signings, I think the big names are out there.
Yeah.
You know, the Mornay Steyn, Josh Strauss,
Mm.
Jean-Ray. But listen, those guys come and they bring in such a wealth of global knowledge and global experience.
Mm.
You know, yes, we've lost a whole wad of senior players, but I mean, what they bring to us now is immense. I mean, a guy like Jean-Ray, you know, we've got about 4 amazing young locks down there. And Jean-Ray, I mean, we've known him since he was a kid. He played here. And I'll tell you, he is a people person. He'll manage his own so nicely. I mean, everybody loves Josh Strauss, let's be honest. I mean, everyone remembers Josh from the Lions days. So if you look at the personalities that we're bringing back, I think they're going to add immensely.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting you say that. I mean, looking at like even Skulkbridge from last year, I think that's been great for me enough. Those kind of players, it seems like the Bulls are focusing on those kind of signings with like just like heart, like you understanding that players might not be leaving slightly earlier, but bringing in the heart that those players have after the knowledge that they've gained now and bringing it back to South Africa. And I think that's very interesting to make sure that our younger players develop faster.
You almost want a trial and tested type of player. That you know exactly what you're getting out of the player, as well as what you bring into the system. That's the. I mean, we know what Moni's gonna bring. We know what Jean-Ray's gonna bring. We know what Josh can bring. So that's for a youngster playing under that and being able to see how things are done at that level will be great for our junior players.
Oh, awesome. That's good to see. I mean, I'm glad to hear that. So obviously now, as a fan of, I'm season ticket holder, love it, and I'm there all the time. I'm here all the time. My wife hates me for it, but actually she's a big fan of Salt. She's a big fan of Salt. She's the first person to be like, "We're going this Saturday, aren't we?" So I should ask, like, why should a fan be coming to Loftus? Why not watch it at home and come here and watch it at the actual game?
I mean, Loftus is not a place. It's not a stadium. It's not a venue. Loftus is a part of who you are. That's why you have a season ticket. You can watch rugby anywhere. You can watch it with a million replays and in front of your TV while you're braaiing and whatever. It's easy. It's more convenient. Everybody knows that. But you don't come here just to watch rugby. You come here to be part of the heart and soul. You come here so that you can influence what those 23 players do on the field. As much as you scream at your TV, they can't hear you. But you know, when you raise your voice here in the stadium, you can influence the game. So being here is a different story. It's not watching rugby. It's being part of rugby, I think.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. I never thought about writing poetry. That's beautiful.
I get paid to talk.
Fair enough. No, I think that's beautiful, and that's exactly why I come. I mean, you want to be part of it. And, obviously, fans are excited to now see the old Leafling, simply the best Mornay Steyn come back and enjoy back in Loftus. That'll be a great thing. Are we going to be playing simply the best when he runs on the field like we did previous time?
So I need. I think he's getting here in the next week or two. So I need to sit down and have a chat with him. You know, if he runs on, I play simply the best, and that's something he's put in his past. maybe he's got a new track. You know,
we'll have to see him maybe. But I mean, it's quite good old nostalgia. I think it'll also bring a lot of fans back. But I mean, there's a lot happening, not only inside the stadium, but outside the stadium before these games. What do families enjoy?
So we're big on entertainment. We put a lot of effort into entertainment, a lot of pride and effort. Our beer garden, our kids area is always first class. Again, I'm biased, but I believe we have one of the best kids areas in the country at the moment. And we always put effort into that. We've got Loftus Park on that side, which is the more modern side of Loftus. You know, there's a lot of restaurants, pubs. So the vibe there is amazing. I mean, to give you an idea, we entertain about 6,000 people in that Loftus Park area before a game. So that's quite a vibe. You've got trademarks on that side. So, you get your 2 or 3 hours before a game and you're entertained. I always say that coming to a rugby match is not just coming here for 80 minutes to watch rugby. It's from the time you leave home to get here. So we just build that vibe up inside the stadium. We've changed our playlisting a hell of a lot. You'll see there's the cheerleaders have new energy for next year. It's new costumes. I'm gonna sneak there for you a little bit. It's something we haven't done before. It's the first time we've ever done the costume that we're doing. So that's quite special. We're going to increase the sound. We're going to increase the pyro. So, it's about razzle-dazzle next year,
So just just showcasing the fans more than you can just see on the TV. You can't have the pyro on TV.
No.
So I mean, no, exactly, and obviously we're also doing a middle halftime games still like we did last year with us. Funny enough, like obviously I'm a big fan of I come regularly. And they have the kick for
cash.
And then happens on the last Curry Cup game of last year, where he actually gets it. Like that was.
So can I actually tell you a funny story about that?
Yeah.
So interesting. The guy that won it, I think it was his first rugby game. He's not much of a rugby fan, and he was a substitute choice. The guy that was supposed to kick didn't show up, so he was a substitute choice, and he comes and he wins it. But that's the beauty of what this is about.
That's amazing.
Brilliant.
It was awesome to see that happen.
Yeah.
Are we having games like that again next year?
Definitely.
Awesome.
So we'll have a lot of that sort of thing. So pre-game we'll have entertainment, competitions going on. We're going to bring in a couple of dance cams and things like that. So I'm working on a dance cam and a flex cam where you can win prizes as well. So we'll have cheerleaders running up giving you a prize if you participate. And then, kick for cash is always going to be a winner. I mean, it's 100 grand. It will change your life. So that's a winner. We'll keep that going. And then Vodacom's also got some nice plans for halftime next year as well.
Outstanding. Oh, I'm excited to see all of that happen. And I'm sure you guys are also very excited. So now, obviously, with that being so, you can obviously get your tickets and so forth, but season tickets. Tell me a little bit about them. Tell me about the season ticket offerings. What do you get?
So we've decided to beef up season tickets as much as possible.
Fully loaded, I guess.
Fully loaded. I must be careful how I use the term beef up at Loftus because we're bulls.
Fair enough.
No, but we've really loaded. We've gone out of our way. It's a bit old school, I think. We've literally gone out of our way to give old school value back to people. So it's crammed with all sorts of stuff. We've got a host of vouchers in there. At last count, I think we've got something like about, I think it's 28 to 30 vouchers in there. And when I say vouchers, that's like heading across to Salsa and you get 20% off your meal. Head across to Trademarks, you get 20% and you get a free drink. So there's a lot of cool stuff. I mean, you can check that out on our website. I think the most exciting part of the benefits for next year, obviously aside from the good rugby, we're introducing a communication channel.
I saw that.
So that's big for us. We're putting a lot of time and effort into that. When I say communication channel, it sounds like a fancy. It's a broadcast group on WhatsApp. It's simple, it's basic, but for the first time ever, as a season ticket holder, you will receive news before it goes anywhere else. So if we sign a new player, you'll get that beeping in your pocket before you read it on a news broadcast.
Being part of the family.
It's being part of the family. You inside. That's what it's about.
That's amazing. That should sell it. That should sell it. I mean, that's just as a fan, I got goosebumps over it. That should be part of the family.
Yeah.
The Bulls family. I mean, that's really beautiful. Finishing off, just one last thing. Obviously, this last year we had the Captain America initiative and the superhero initiative. Is that happening again next year? Are we going the same direction, or is there is there anything different on that, or is that too soon?
Next week, 27th of November, Super Sport. 28th of November.
Yeah.
Super Sport 1. It will all be revealed.
Yeah.
Awesome. Actually, Super Sport, guys. It's going to be revealed there.
You're 2 weeks early.
That's
week away.
That's fine. And we'll just get on the questions and stuff. But it's exciting to hear that there is something happening.
Yeah.
And it's, as a South African fan, I thought that was a good initiative and a great thing.
We add one thing onto that when you do the edit. You've seen our adaptation of the logo now.
Yes, with the
daisy.
Yeah. Daisy, yeah.
So if I can make a comment on that, for us, a massive thing for 2020 is the fact that the daisy is now incorporated with the bull onto the jersey. It's the first time ever we're going to have that daisy on a Super Rugby jersey. And to us, that is super special. It is a representation of our heritage, our tradition. It's 82 years of building blocks. It's the history of the Bulls. I'm big on the fact that you can't walk forward if you don't know where you're coming from. And we've kind of mixed those worlds up now. We have our history living together with the Horns, which is our future. I think fans are very excited about that.
Yeah, that sounds nice to just bring back what rugby where the Bulls come from.
Yeah.
And I mean, so much history, 80 years, or more than 80 years now.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful. But yeah, guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming on. Is there any closing remarks you guys want to say?
Yeah, I think for us, probably excited to see the fans come out. Come enjoy the rugby with us. That's the main thing. Get behind the Bulls going forward.
Go Bulls, guys. Thank you very much. Cheers.